He's a tall man.
What does it all mean?
This is where the archaeology has been found.
Oh, hi, how are you? Well, look at that.
I need a planter.
From the mountain top,
A shrine to a belly button.
This is a rock of salt?
he digs for clues in his dusty.
Look at that. No one gets into this place. No one. Whoa, don't take me too far. Now that's naked archaeology.
Where's archaeology? Where's archaeology? Where's archaeology?
I'm looking at the Sea of Galilee, the cradle of Christian civilization, and I'm wondering about fish. Why? Because fish was the earliest sign of Christianity. Before the cross, there was the fish. And this makes me wonder if Jesus was a stonemason, a tekton. Some people say carpenter, but really it's translated from Greek as a stonemason. If he's a stonemason, why isn't the earliest sign of Christianity a hammer? Why a fish? I'm here to find out. The Christian Gospels are fuzzy on this, but we think that 5 or 6 of Jesus' disciples were fishermen who plied their trade on the Sea of Galilee. James, Peter, Andrew, John, and Philip. In Luke 5, 4-10, Peter tells Jesus that he and his fellow apostles have fished all night and caught nothing.
We've done nothing but strain water through our nets.
Jesus points them to a different spot. When they haul in their nets, they almost rip from the weight of the catch. Did Jesus have beginner's luck? Or was he so plugged into the culture of fishing in the Galilee that he had an insider's knowledge of where to cast the nets? To answer this, I'm off to talk to Yoel Ben Yosef, curator of the House of Anchors Museum. He has archaeological evidence that 2,000 years ago, Jews were fishing in the Galilee in a big way. If you want to know about fishing in the Sea of Galilee, this is the place to come.
Yes, of course.
So, what can you tell me about biblical fish?
It's strange to me why in the Bible we have no names of fish.
True, I never
If
thought
fish
of it.
was known and they remembered it, only in the Talmud later we have a lot of names of fish, but not in the Bible.
In Genesis, Adam names every bird and every beast, but fish aren't even given a mention. In Leviticus, there's a list of creatures not to eat. The eagle, the vulture, the black vulture, the red kite, any kind of black kite, any raven, the horned owl, the screech owl, the gull, any kind of hawk, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the white owl, the desert owl, the osprey, the stork, any kind of heron, the hoopoe, the bat, no argument there. But fish just gets a generic mention.
Some said that the Bible was written in Jerusalem. It's far from the beach and they were not so familiar with different
With beach
name of
things,
fish.
like bikinis
Yeah.
aren't mentioned in the Bible either.
Yeah.
But why did Jesus, he lived in Nazareth, he lived in Nazareth. Why was he so attracted to fishing and fishermen?
Catching fish is kind of miraculous work, yes?
Oh, I see. So if you're going out there fishing, you're more connected to God. It's
Yes,
like taxi driving. You never know what you're going to come home with.
Taxi!
Okay, what do we got archaeology-wise? This is Flintstone. The mystery is, how did they make in ancient times, because this is ancient, a hole in a flintstone? And the answer is?
It's natural.
The hard flintstone forms around the soft limestone. Over time, the limestone wears away. Do you have any lead stuff?
Yes.
So this is lead weights for fishing nets.
Each one is homemade.
We're talking about, what, 2,000-year-old lead?
1,000, 1,800.
So St. Peter may have been using this fish net.
Of course, yes.
Can I have one?
No.
I've seen lots of evidence that fishing was all over the Galilee at the time of Jesus. But that still doesn't explain why the fish and not the hammer is the logo of Christianity.
How did it start?
So I'm off to Tabcha to see a 5th century church with guide Jacob Fursell to learn how important fishing was for Jesus and his early followers. Now this is an amazingly well-preserved mosaic. I've seen this, it's on stamps.
It's an icon.
According to the Gospels, when Jesus heard John the Baptist had been killed,
He was beheaded.
he needed a break. So he went with his disciples by boat to somewhere in the sticks. Thousands followed him. Problem was, they only had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish to feed everybody. Jesus said, no worries. Looking up to heaven, he gave thanks, broke the loaves, and guess what? He took just a few loaves, 5 loaves, and multiplied them. And at the end, there was so much that it was enough to fill 12 baskets, according to the tradition. Can it be that Jesus' fish miracle had more to do with geography than the miraculous? Maybe the name of this place, Tabcha, which in Arabic means 7 springs, tells us why.
There are 7 warm springs here. The water is very warm, slightly radioactive, flows into the Galilee, and the fishing in this area is the best in all of the Sea of Galilee. Remember, 11 of the 12 are from Galilee, most of them fishermen. So this really, really fits.
So the geography fits the story.
Yes, it does.
Between the Gospels and the history and the archaeology. Bread and fish are well and good, but as a steady diet, they're kind of bland. So what did the locals do to spice it up? They made a tasty sauce called Garum that was loved all over the Roman world. So I'm off to ask biblical fishing expert Pnina Galpes-Feller to help me put garum on the table for the first time in 2,000 years. Let's follow the smell. We're following the smell. Do they have garum in this restaurant over here?
No, my
garum,
friend,
yeah?
no garum. It's handmade. Oh, look!
Fish!
Here are the fish, smell them. My nose doesn't lie.
Can you smell it? This is a kosher market, so only kosher fish are sold. What makes a fish kosher? To be kosher, seafood has to have fins and scales. And to make kosher garum, people used the whole fish, fins and scales and all.
In ancient time, people used to cook fish and to cook the bones as well. And they used to cook the bones so many hours till the bones became so easy to digest. Soft and easy for
Like
digesting.
a stew.
Like a stew, exactly.
And is that how garum was born?
Exactly.
The Galilee area, I think, was for sure a big area for salting fish.
You are absolutely right.
This is what cowboys did. They had meat jerky. They dried and salted meat, and then they can ride on the horses forever. Now that I know the Sea of Galilee was a great fishing hole because of its hot springs, I want to make the first kosher garum in 2,000 years. Maybe in the process, I'll find out why Jesus was into fish in such a big way.
He's a tall, tall man. He's a tall, tall man.
Hey, you out there, have you ever wondered what is it about Jesus and fish? I mean, think about it. His father's a carpenter, or in Greek, tekton. That's translated as a stonemason. But there isn't one, not one, disciple who's either a carpenter or a stonemason, but there's 6 fishermen. And what is it? You know, he's multiplying fish. Why isn't he multiplying chickens or sheep? I'm not kidding. What is it about the early Jesus movement and fishing? I'm off to see biblical expert Professor Yair Zakovich to find out. I've always wondered about Jesus. He's a carpenter or a stonemason, more likely. Why doesn't he have a lot of stonemasons in his buddy group?
In the Torah, where all the great miracles take place in the desert, including the story of the manna.
Exodus 16 tells us that after Moses led the children of Israel out of Egypt, it's pretty slim pickings out there. So God performs a miracle. Every morning, manna mysteriously appears, and nobody's stomach complained for the rest of the trip.
In the desert, usually there are no fish, unless you carry some tuna cans with you.
But Israelites complain about that. They say, oh, it was so good back in Egypt, we had herring.
Yeah, exactly. If you talk about Jesus, about the Galilee, you don't talk about having manna, but you talk about bread and fish.
Just like Moses before him, Jesus had to impress his followers by performing a food miracle. But that still doesn't tell us why he had so many fishermen with him. Isn't it possible that the reason Jesus has so many fishermen is that they're a more probable audience for his message than stonemasons?
These were simple people
I'm just a fisherman.
and very poor people.
We're not landowners, we're just fishermen.
Jesus is a person of the poor people, and that's why fishermen attract him
Yes, I like him.
and attracted to him more than masons.
I actually disagree with you in a very respectful way. Here's my theory. Stonemasons are collaborationists by nature. What happens in Jesus' time, just when he's a kid? Sepphoris gets burnt. And then as he's growing up, Sepphoris gets built up. Stonemasons are making a fortune. They have a vested interest in the regime as it is. So he's not going to find revolutionary followers among stonemasons. But fishermen That's a different thing. They're like taxi drivers. They're independent.
We're going to stop for a cup of coffee.
They have their own boats, they have business, some of them are very wealthy. They are more likely to be open to new ideas.
We don't have to agree with one another, and we are still good friends.
I'll haul a net or draw an oar with any man.
Okay, so the expert doesn't agree with me. He thinks fishermen followed Jesus because they were poor. But in the ancient Galilean port of Bethsaida, Marco Polo has found a fisherman's house from the time of Jesus. Will it be the house of some poor fisherman or a well-to-do member of Jesus' inner circle?
We're entering now the fisherman's house.
This could have been one of the houses of one of the disciples of Jesus who were fishermen.
Could very well have been, given all of the artifacts that we have found in these quarters.
Anchors,
Anchors,
hooks, gefilte fish,
gefilte fish,
and fishing implements.
all kinds of fishing implements.
This is a well-to-do house. I can see it right here.
Well, you can see it by its size.
Yeah, these guys had bucks. They look more like
almost apartment rooms or so.
yeah,
They're
look more like
rooms.
barracks. So maybe it's not one family. So I'm beginning to think that maybe this was a locus of the movement that would become the Jesus movement. But they're also got the bucks to take off, and the dad doesn't go bankrupt.
That's right.
So we know that 5 of the disciples come from this town,
That's what the texts tell us.
and we're in a fishing house.
In the fishing house. For a large family or an extended family
or a movement.
or a movement.
And Marco Polo's not the only one to think so. Professor Richard Freund, co-director of Bethsaida Excavations Project, has also been digging around here. You have more first-century finds here than anywhere else here along the Galilee.
Combined.
Combined. You find this, looks like a barracks. Like,
Right. It's a huge courtyard house. The largest fisherman's house with rooms all around the outside.
it looks like the guy is running a huge enterprise.
Well, it's a manor house. We would call it a manor house today.
The Fisherman's Manor in Bethsaida proves fishing wasn't a small family business. It was big enough to finance the Jesus movement. But once these wealthy fishermen hauled in their catch, what did they do with it? I'm on my way to the Galilean town of Migdal, located smack dab on the ancient road Via Maris, to see if James Charlesworth and Stefano De Luca can tell me what people did with all that fish. What's the significance of the Via Maris?
Via Maris is the way of the sea.
The artery, the main artery.
Yeah.
Going from Egypt to Damascus. This is where they pickled fish and shipped it in many parts of the world.
This was a big business here, right?
Yeah, even before Christ, according to the classical sources we have, the main industrial activity of Migdal was the fishing.
Fishing and pickling?
The name itself, what does it mean?
Migdal?
Yeah.
I thought it means tower.
But the complete name on Jewish source is Migdal Nunaya,
Which means?
the tower of the fish.
So what's a tower of fish?
Yeah, like
Ah, so it's the lighthouse of the fishing town.
Yeah.
Why would there need to be a migdal, a tower, on which you would have light at night?
Because until today, time of fish is in the night.
In its day, fish was to Migdal what cars are to Detroit. Big business. One of the most popular products in their lineup was Garum. And since I haven't found any, I'm going to have to make my own. I've got here a secret Garum recipe.
Okay. Spices. You need a place of spices.
I think there's spices over there. Is this beautiful spices? Look at that.
Behind you, you can find the hyssop. You need it for our gum. It will make it tasty.
I want to get a really good bottle of wine subsidized by the production.
I would like to smell it, please.
L'chaim, l'chaim. This is amazing. But it's a waste to stick it into some stinky fish.
No, my friend, it will take the stinky smell, I'm telling you.
I've got wine and herbs. All I need for my garum is the main ingredient, fish.
He's a tall, tall man. He's a tall, tall man.
As I'm on the shores of the Sea of Galilee and I contemplate the fishing industry here in ancient times, and the one thing that's become clear to me is that the prevailing image of fishing in the Sea of Galilee, that is, that it was quaint, is wrong. So I'm off to En Gev to whip up a batch of one of their biggest moneymakers. Oh, look at this. Mary Restaurant. A fish restaurant named Maria. Why was Mary, the follower of Jesus,
You might be seen, recognized.
why was she called Magdalene?
Mary, who came from Magdala.
Mary from Tower Town. It was a place of fishing, but not just fishing. They processed fish. They made big bucks. Why? Because they brimed fish. What's the big deal of salting fish? Salt was expensive. Salt was rare. But here where you have fish, you also have just down the road, you have the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea has salt. So you have fish, you have salt, and it's sitting right on the main road, the Via Maris. So it's location, location, location. In fact, in Greek, Migdal was known as Tarihia, or place of salted fish. Maybe fishermen of the Galilee weren't so poor after all. Fresh, salted, or brined, fish could have underwritten the early Jesus movement. But there's one more reason that a fish won out as the symbol of early Christianity. Ichthus, which is the Greek word for fish, can be read as an acrostic, a word formed from the first letters of several words. Iota is the first letter of Jesus, Greek for Jesus. Chi is the first letter of Christos, Greek for Christ or anointed. Theta is the first letter of Theo, meaning gods. Upsilon is the first letter of Huios, Greek for son. Sigma is the first letter of Soter, Greek for savior. So when being a Christian could get you killed, fish was the code word for Christian. But sometimes a fish is just a fish, and I need one for my garum. Where better to get it than the Sea of Galilee? Fishing in the Sea of Galilee has changed the nature of the world. I'm not kidding. This is ground zero of a movement that changed the world. How did it start? It started with a fishy story. Jesus' disciples fished here over 2,000 years ago. And today, Menachem Lev, the fish whisperer of the Sea of Galilee, is going to teach me Jesus' fish-catching secrets. Okay, now let's see if I have beginner's luck. Okay, give me a luck. Okay, bring her up. Haul her up. Whoa! In the Gospels, it says that Jesus says to those guys, they couldn't catch any fish. So he said, go over there. They went over there, they caught a lot of fish.
For sure. Because you can see how the fish is moving. We see the fish.
You can tell me move 100 meters over there?
Yes.
And boom.
Look the birds. They're running after the fish now. Look. You see?
So you look at the birds?
You smell the plankton. You know what it's plankton?
You smell the plankton?
And we know where it's plankton, there is going to be a lot of fish there. And you see also the line of the plankton sometimes. It's another color on the lake.
These are clues into the Jesus miracle. You look where the birds are. You look at the line of plankton on the water. It's a different shade of water. So an experienced fisherman like Menachem, he can say, hey guys, move 100 meters over there, lots of fish, yeah? Yes. So maybe Jesus' miracles show a true insider's knowledge. It could be that what Jesus was up to between childhood
I don't see him anywhere.
and the beginning of his ministry was working on his fishing.
You set quite a task for yourself.
Look, hey, sardine for the garum. Whoa! That was sardine for the garum.
Just so much of each ingredient.
Come over here, I'll tell you what I'm doing. Let me explain to you what I'm doing. What's your name?
Ralph.
Okay, so you're gonna get a treat now because I'm gonna tell you something. The caviar of the ancient world was a concoction called garum. We're gonna be the first guys in 2,000 years to make garum in Israel. You're a witness to history.
Oh, great.
Hey, fishermen guys, close your eyes and open your hand and reach deep inside here. What's important to bake garum, to stick everything in. The guts, the head, everything. They love the stuff. La 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 la. Enough? Here, Ralph. You've got the honor of putting the hyssop in.
Okay.
All right. Is that enough hyssop? Oh, this is so disgusting. Those Romans were weird. You see this? Yummy or what? For me, it's now indisputable. Fishing in the Galilee at the time of Jesus was gangbusters. Fishermen knew the tricks, had easy access to the superhighways, and were cooking up a sauce that sold like hotcakes. So maybe Jesus' miracles were based on an insider's knowledge of fishing. But what I want to know is how will garum taste after 2,000 years on the shelf?
He's a tall, tall man. He's a tall, tall man.
The fish business was big business around the Sea of Galilee at the time of Jesus. So it's obvious why so many of Jesus' disciples were in the biz. But why did a fish sauce called garum, produced in the Galilee, become a delicacy craved by Romans and Jews alike? This will only happen once. Yummo! Oh, look at that yummo!
Fire, fire!
Whoa! Whoa! Okay, all right. Oh my God. Garum, can we hear some applause? Ralph? Good, eh?
No.
Maybe fishermen were poisoning the Romans with garum and making money off them to boot. Let me see what you think of it. Not bad, not bad. He likes it.
Oh, an extra little bit of sauce, okay.
It's not bad.
Not bad, eh? So far, we have 2 who loved it and 1 who didn't. Not bad. My fish sauce is not going to make me rich, but in the time of Jesus, it might have. The fishing industry was a gravy train, so it's easy to see why ictus became the hallmark of Christianity. Hammers just don't speak to people with fish on the brain.
He's a tall, tall man. From a tall, tall land. He makes no apologies for his archaeology. He's a tall, tall man. From a tall, tall land. No apologies for his archaeology.